What's going on, Stim Junkies? Hi, Stim Ace here, and we are officially back in the High Stim studio. In case you guys haven't seen the video I released right before this one, which did drop, I think it was 3 days ago, I had an entire mess in this room, in this section here, a little bit over there, probably a little bit up there as well. It was crazy. Mom was staying over for the weekend. She flew in all the way from Poland, and it was absolutely a blast having her here, but the entire room was pretty much occupied. So we are officially back, and we are going to do this better than ever. Now, us being back in the High Stim studio coincides perfectly with the pre-workout review that I am going to be dropping today. As you guys probably guessed, it is going to be a Dark Labs product, and one that actually has a lot of history and prestige behind the name. What we are going to be reviewing today on the High Stim Ace channel is Crack Purple. Yeah, guys, Crack Purple, aka the true Crack OG. I know they have a pre-workout now called Crack the OG, but for those of you guys that know, there is a little purple tub about half the size of this one sitting on the shelf right above me, right over there. That is the true Crack OG. And this one here is a spiritual successor. Obviously, the formula has changed. It's 2025. Geranium extract is no longer available. It is no longer in this tub here, so don't even think about trying to compare the two products because they are entirely in different realms. But I'm going to get into it. We're going to break down the flavor, the labels, and obviously the effects in the gym where it matters most. Let's roll that intro and let's get talking about Dark Labs Crack Purple 2025. All right, guys, so we got the two Crack Purple tubs standing side by side. What a beautiful sight this is. Only available here on the High Stim Ace channel. But as you guys could see, this is the original one, right? The iconic, legendary 120 milligrams of DMAA. This is literally one of the early runs here. One that is still sealed, by the way. Going to be opening that one up really, really soon. As you can see over here, this is the new version. Doesn't look quite as lively. I really do miss the Dark Labs logo. I miss that Reaper logo, and I guess it goes with the rebrand, but it just says Dark Labs over here. This is their new, and I guess you could say up-to-date logo. I do miss the old one. Maybe they'll bring it back, but you guys can see it's very inspired by the original purple. They were definitely going for that nostalgia. It's also the same flavor. This is the Rocket Tropical Punch flavor, and I do believe that was the same flavor we had on here. More or less the same thing, but the flavors are very, very different. Now, this new tub is obviously a little bit taller. The weight is different on here. Doesn't have that shiny finish like the old one did. It kind of looks like a neutered version of that original iconic pre-workout. But hey, there is a reason that this is a legend, right? Because this one was special and iconic. And you guys remember the feeling. Anyway, this is the comparison. Let's get to talking about the new Crack Purple. So before I get into actually reviewing the product and discussing everything, and believe me, this video will probably go a little bit long because there's a lot to be said about this one, and I really want to do this pre-workout justice. It is an iconic pre-workout, all things considered, but I want to give you a little bit of history when it comes to this specific version of Crack Purple. Now, they originally relaunched this one about, I want to say 5 or 6 months ago, something like that. And I actually got myself an early sample from my good buddy, Garage Gym Homie. Shouts out to the main man, GGH. He sent me a sample of Crack Purple and Crack Gold, the new versions for 2025, which they made that big announcement. It could have even been like 7 months ago at this point, but either way, time flies when you're having a good time and when you're hopped up on the best of stims. But I got sent those samples, actually 2 samples of each, and both experiences, the original gold that got reformulated and the purple that got reformulated, both experiences were equally underwhelming. Just didn't feel like Dark Labs to me. It felt that the manufacturing was off, that the sourcing wasn't great, and it wasn't until after where they released Crack Reloaded and Maniaco where I feel like everything kind of got back on track. They then dropped the Crack Primal and a couple of other stuff, the new V3 version of Flame, the new Run, and all these pre-workouts have been hitters. I've actually reviewed a bunch of those products already. The new Barbarian, obviously, you guys can check out down below. I'm going to pin the comment. We're going to link all those reviews in case you guys missed out, but I did review a lot of the new Dark Lab stuff. So when I did try this one initially, it was a massive disappointment to the point where I didn't even go out of my way to request this one be sent to me because I wasn't interested in leaving a bad review. I already gave not the best review to the Crack Gold. I did end up getting a tub of that sent my way. Didn't give it the best review. It wasn't a horrible experience, but it was far from what I expected it to be. Now, this one here, luckily, does come from us from the latest batch, and thankfully, it is a positive experience. So we're going to talk about it. I ran this one twice, and today was my second time running it. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm in a very good mood. So let's go ahead and start off by discussing the flavor. Now, the flavor I got here is the Rocket Tropical Punch, and I'm really glad that I did because the original version, the 120 milligrams of geranium extract that I do have up there above me, that one had the same flavor, and it was an iconically terrible flavor. Obviously, this is the Dark Labs of old, where the flavoring system was terrible, and it really had to mask a lot of stimulants. You knew you were getting the goods, but you were going to gag halfway down and have to chew a piece of gum afterwards. This one here, besides not having any food coloring or additives of that sort, it tastes really good. Tastes nothing like that original geranium version of crack purple. So this one here tastes really good. I know they also have a very dark berry flavor and like a lemon, or was it a lime, cherry, limeade, something like that. I think they might even be dropping one or two more flavors in the near future, but either way, they do have a lot of flavors. This one is the Tropical Rocket Punch. It's a solid flavor, nothing offensive. Let's move on to talk about this label. So looking at the supplement facts here, this is a 40-20, like a lot of products in the modern era. I do believe that Crack Primal's 25 servings, as is Crack Barbarian, but this one they did end up going with a 40-20. You're either going to take it at 10 grams or 20 grams for the full 2 scoops. This is the full dose, full scoop channel. No half measures right here on the High Stim Ace channel. So we're going to measure it out. We're going to talk about 2 scoops. And by the way, speaking of measuring it out, it weighs in exactly at 10 grams per scoop. You're going to have to heap it just a little bit, kind of give a rounded scoop. It's going to give you 10 grams. So you're going to take 2 scoops and you're going to chug it down and you're going to move on with your life. So we are starting off here. We have L-citrulline coming in at 8,000 milligrams, which is a very, very respectable dose for Dark Labs. A lot of their products, first of all, use citrulline malate, or at least they used to in the older formulations, and there were smaller doses. You would get like 4,000 to 6,000 milligrams of citrulline malate, which, let's be honest, it's not going to do all that much. 8 grams in here for the pumps, and the pumps were definitely juicy. We continue the label with beta-alanine coming in at 3,000 milligrams, which is just 200 short of the clinical dose, but you guys know what we say about clinical doses, right? 3,000 milligrams here hits really, really hard, and we're going to talk about the beta tingles in a moment when we get to the effect section. We have agmatine sulfate at 1,000 milligrams for additional pumps. It's going to pair really well with that citrulline. We have a nootropic coming in the form of choline bititrate, 500 milligrams, really good derivative there, going to give you a nice little locked-on focus and concentration, and it's going to pair really well with the stim package in here. And speaking of the stim package, we start off with caffeine anhydrous coming in at 400 milligrams, which is a pretty solid dose. Next up, we got N-phentyl dimethylamine citrate, also known to the common man as Uriah gerenesis. That's going to get you in a good mood. It's going to get you a little hopped up, little floaty feeling. Head's going to float off the body just a little bit and really going to set your mind right. And speaking of setting your mind right, we have 2-amino isoheptane, aka DMHA, coming in at 240 milligrams, which is an interesting dose, but for the 1 scoop, you're getting 120 milligrams, and that's a little throwback to the original formula, which did have 120 milligrams of the geranium extract. So obviously, DMHA is not as potent as DMAA, so you're getting 120 for 1 scoop, and obviously 240, which is double that amount for 2 scoops. I personally wouldn't take it at 1 scoop. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but 240 milligrams, nice little callback there. For you guys that are in the know about, you will definitely appreciate it. And then we have caffeine citrate, so the second form of caffeine coming in at 200 milligrams, the fast-acting caffeine, and yeah, it's interesting. We're going to talk about that as well. We have a lot to discuss today, guys, but that essentially gives you a 50% yield, so 100 additional milligrams after the yield. So you're at a total of 500, which is pretty high. That's on the high end for Dark Labs, especially considering Primal only has about 235 or 250, something like that. So you're getting 500 total milligrams of caffeine. We got halostashin for additional stimulation, 50 milligrams. And lastly, to round off the label and add a little sense of aggression, alpha-yohimbine coming in at 2 milligrams. Before High Stim Ace breaks down my experience running the all-new Crack Purple 2 times over the past 2 weeks, don't forget to like this video, comment below, share the channel with a fellow stim junkie or a pre-workout enthusiast, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. So the first time I ran this pre-workout was about 2 weeks ago, and it was a pretty interesting experience. Obviously, the first thing I felt was the beta-alanine tingles, and even being 200 milligrams short of the clinical dose, the beta tingles are going to smack you. It's not an uncomfortable sensation, but it's definitely present and letting you know that it's time to get going to the gym. I think the fact that you have 200 milligrams of the caffeine citrate also hits you relatively quickly. You're getting that second awakening, and it's going to synergize really well with the beta tingles. Now, obviously, caffeine isn't the main stimulant in here. That is just one of the stimulants, but it's interesting because despite there being citrate in here, this one doesn't smack you right off the bat. As a matter of fact, this pre-workout doesn't smack you at all. This is more of a feel-good, mood-elevating, and super focused type of product, and it does differentiate a little bit from the other crack variants. Obviously, a lot of the labels for their new crack pre-workouts are very similar, with little tweaks here and there, some of them focusing a little bit more on the aggressive aspect, such as Crack Barbarian. Other ones kind of focus on that happy euphoria, such as the Crack Primal. That one definitely is a little bit less energy, a little bit more positive vibes, good mood elevation. And then you have stuff that's somewhere in between, like Maniaco, where it does offer you the aggression, but also the mood elevation. It's somewhere in between. This one here, if I had to rank it in terms of strength, in terms of intensity, it's definitely somewhere in the middle, right? It's not as intense as Crack Reloaded or Crack Barbarian, but it's also a little bit stronger in the energy department and in the focus department than Crack Purple. It's not as intense as Crack the OG. That one is obviously the most intense, and also Flame, by the way, smacks pretty hard. But this one here falls somewhere in the middle. It does have its own identity. It does carve its own niche within the Dark Labs Cracked product line, and I really like the way it makes you feel. It's definitely more of a creeper than a lot of their other products, because a lot of the other cracks are going to hit relatively quickly. Within 20 minutes, you're ready to go. This one here takes a little bit longer. I would say 30 to 35 minutes till the entire package comes together. But when it comes together, it is a beautiful thing. First of all, the pumps are great on this one. 8 grams of citrulline, 1 gram of agmatine. You don't have to stack anything on top of this. As you guys can see, I was pumped up today, juicy and swole. Hit a little bit of back, rear delts, and biceps. A little bit of forearm action as well. But I was looking nice and juicy, and definitely no need to stack anything. You don't really want to mess with the synergy of this product. I mean, heck, you guys could always add a little glycerol or some pump capsules. That usually tends to not affect the pre-workout, but I ran this one both times on its own, did not pair anything on top of it, and it hit nicely and consistently both times I ran it. Did take 2 weeks in between, because today was my second time running it after taking it about 2 weeks ago, so the experience is definitely consistent. It's going to take time to build up, but the main ingredient in here, the main stimulant that you're going to feel over anything else, is definitely the 2-amino isoheptane, aka the DMHA. The alpha-O kind of takes a backseat in here. I feel like the alpha-O effect is very delayed. 2 milligrams is no slouch. 2 milligrams is definitely a solid dose, but it's really going to build after an hour or so. You're really going to be riding that head high more than anything else. For the first like 20 minutes, it's kind of uneventful, other than the beta tingles and slight sense of awakening, but it kind of builds and builds throughout the workout, but not to the point where you're getting an elevated heart rate, to the point where you're shaking or tweaking or anything like that. It's a smooth experience. It's a clean experience. It's very, very focus driven. There aren't a lot of nootropics in here, but for some reason they have a very nice clear-headed nootropic type of effect, but also a good mood elevation. It's not a dancing kind of euphoria, but it's a very solid mood elevation. You feel positive, you feel good, and even after a long work day, I mean, I only got to the gym today at about 6:20 p.m., so kind of late in the evening, and it's already pitch black out at like 5:15, so not a lot of motivation, but man, this one really motivated me. Put on some good tunes, was really enjoying the workout. After like 2 warm-up sets, I really got into it, and I just had this incredible nootropic focus, a solid mood elevation in the background, and at that 55 minute mark, almost close to an hour, it did start building a little bit with the physical aggression, and luckily for me, I was in the gym for about an hour and 30 minutes today on a weeknight, which is not bad for me, and I really did end up reaping those benefits from the alpha-O, but again, no runny nose, no droopy nose, no sweats, no shakes, no anxiety, no elevated heart rate, nothing like that. If I have to say, there is a little bit of delayed urination, there is a little bit of the shrinkage, the Stimmy Willy meter comes in at probably like a 7.5 out of 10, so it's not the craziest situation I ever had, but it's definitely noticeable, and that does lead me to believe that it does have the legitimate yum-yums in here, and obviously it does, because this is Dark Labs we're talking about. Whatever version of this product I ran from that early first production batch that came out like 6-7 months ago, this is nothing like it. This is a full-on upgrade. It's worthy of being a successor to the original Crack 120 milligram DMAA version. Now, is it as good as that legendary pre-workout? Obviously not. It's an entirely different experience. That is a legend, and it's a legend for a reason. That was a pre-workout I didn't like running more than twice a month personally, because it's an all-day kind of experience. A lot of times there is a crash that comes with it, so I gotta mentally be prepared for that one. And anyway, it's not even available anymore. But this version here, guys, I really like it. It's very, very solid. Definitely would put it in like the top 3 or 4 products of Dark Labs currently. I mean, they do have a lot of variants, and I did hear they have Undead King coming back. That should be interesting. You best believe Heist Mace is going to be reviewing that one. But overall, I really like this one. Don't expect it to be like that original version, but overall, very, very solid. And if you're somebody who's a beginner, who's never dabbled with 2-amino before, and you kind of want to dip your feet in with Dark Labs, let's say you've never tried any Dark Labs products in the past, I think this is the best entry point. I wouldn't run it at 1 scoop based on how I felt on 2 scoops. I would say you guys can definitely take it at 2 scoops. Even if you're a beginner, you're new to DMHA, this is a great entry point. I would say this and Primal are probably the best entry points. It is a little bit high on the caffeine, but surprisingly, it doesn't feel like 500 milligrams of total caffeine. I would say that it feels like it has maybe 250 or 300 of anhydrous and then like 50 to 100 milligrams of citrate. That's how it feels like to me anyway. I'm sure the dosages are legit. I'm sure the label is a legitimate label, but based on how I felt, it didn't have that crazy caffeine energy. It did build up nice and gradual, 30 minutes to really start doing its thing. But once you're on for the rest of the workout. So if this sounds like something interesting that you guys are looking to get into, you can pick this one up directly from darklabs.pro using discount code ACE to save you 10% off your entire order and help support the Heist and Mace YouTube channel. It's also available over at nutracartel.com with discount code ACE15 to save 15% site-wide. Guys, I would recommend picking this one up. I really like it. It's a good pre-workout. It tastes pretty good. It goes down easily. There's no crash. There's no negative feelings of association that come with it. It's all a positive experience, but it does take a little while to build, and it doesn't have like that crazy slap. So if you guys want something that's going to smack you, get yourself Crack Reloaded, get yourself Crack Barbarian, or Maniacal or Flame. Those 4 are definitely going to slap. Primal and Crack Purple, definitely a little bit more chill, but don't get it twisted. This isn't a chill pre-workout where you're going to be chilling. You're going to be working, you're going to be pumped, you're going to be super focused, super nootropic focus on whatever it is that you're doing, and you're going to feel freaking great. Overall, incredible product, and I'm really happy that Dark Labs sent it my way for review. I greatly appreciate it, and that's all I got to say, guys. Make sure you tune into the next video, subscribe to Heist and Mace right here on YouTube, click the little bell notification to get all of Heist and Mace's latest updates, like the video, share the video, comment on the video, let me know if you've tried this version of Purple. Do you think it holds up? What are some of your favorite Dark Labs products? How would you rank the different crack variants? Let me know, guys, in the comments down below. Follow me on Instagram at HeistAmace, and I will see you all next time for the next HeistStim pre-workout review. Take care, everybody. HeistAmace, signing off.